I want to bring Nigel Farage in, that's a Brexit leader, who, by the way, is on the short list for Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Only about a dozen people on that list. But Nigel, always good to have you. I wanted to get your take on that comment about refugees. We have to help refugees who have escaped the horrors of war. What did you think of that?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? The one thing we didn't get from Obama was any contrition, any apology, any acknowledgement of the fact that actually the unnecessary interference in places like Libya is directly what has led to the growth of ISIS and has led to this flood of displaced people or refugees. I think we need to go back to the 1951 Geneva Convention definition of what a refugee is. A refugee is a man or a woman who is in direct threat of their freedom or their life as a result of their race, their religion, or their beliefs. Now, that's fine. And I think we can, provided we have secure borders, which of course at the moment we don't, provided we have secure borders, we can find room in our hearts for genuine refugees. And I'm thinking particularly of Christians living in Syria, living in Iraq, being murdered, being persecuted, as one very good, clear example. What we cannot do, I'm afraid, and if only we could as human beings, but there are 59 million people currently displaced by war, according to the United Nations. And if Obama is suggesting that we in the West can find room for all of these people, particularly given the fact that we have no means to vet whether these people have terrorist links, then there's a problem. And one quick thing, Neil. A year ago, we saw those appalling massacres taking place in restaurants and that theatre in France. Of the 8 men that committed those atrocities, 5 of them had got into Europe, crossing the Mediterranean, posing as refugees. So I'm sorry, Obama, we need to be more careful than that.
Now, one of the things he talked about is that we as a civil society have to look after our weakest members and displaced members, obviously referring to the refugees. And that there's a vetting process. I'm paraphrasing here, but he's always said that in this country, in America, we have a vetting process. We go through this closely. But we've proven that that vetting process oftentimes can fall through the cracks. So what does a President Trump do?
Well, look, I repeat the point. Most of these people, suffering though they are, but most of them would not qualify as refugees. And, you know, when David Cameron visited one of the camps, and he was shown around by a Jordanian minister who said even though this camp has women and children in it, and not just young males, even here, you must accept, Mr. Cameron, that 2% of these people will be people of terrorist-leaning sympathies. And I think what Trump has said very clearly in the campaign, and my goodness me, it's resonated, is that for America to be safe, you have to be absolutely sure that anyone coming to you is a genuine refugee and has no links with terrorism. And if you couple that with stopping open borders, you will make your country safer. And I'm speaking to you here from Brussels, where there are whole districts that effectively have become no-go zones. So the message is, Trump, don't let America become like Brussels. And you know what? I'm sure that he won't.
Let me ask you finally, in this short list of Time Magazine's Person of the Year, inciting you and choosing you as head of the UK Independence Party, and I'm quoting here, Farage was the face of the successful campaign for Britain to leave the European Union, positioning the referendum as the start of a global populist wave against the political establishment. I'm going on to say one that would later include Donald Trump. What do you make of that? Well, I would like to think it's true in some ways. I mean, I battled for nearly a quarter of a century. I was laughed at, mocked and derided because I believed in nation-state democracy. I believed in normality. I believed in the things that my grandparents went to war to fight and defend for. You know, democracy in the nation-state. Took me a long time, but we won. Did it help Donald Trump and the Republicans? I would like to think that it did. And of course, just 48 hours ago, we saw in Italy the third big revolution of this year. So whether I win or not, I've no idea. I mean, personally, I might vote for Beyonce. I'm not sure. But let's see what happens. All right, you're on there with Donald Trump, but I think your stiffest competition could be Beyonce Knowles. I just want to break it to you. But not